Hey everyone, good evening. Eric Beans, CEO of HapPhi. I'm going to be talking today, part four, about how to raise money without a lot of money, or how to start a software company without a lot of money. Obviously, raising money without a lot of money is part of that as well. Although a lot of people who do have money decide, you know what, I'm not going to use my own. I find that a little odd. Although a lot of people do it when you do take people's money, there's a stress that goes along with it. There's an obligation, both legally and otherwise, that you are going to do your best under fiduciary duties to pay that money back. It is not charity. It is meant as I believe in you, and we need to find a way to make that money back together. So here's where we are. So far, we have a name that we picked out that is easy to monitor to optimize on SEO. We've got a brand, a logo. We've got a website that you've worked hard to put together with the content and worked with people to put it up on something like Webflow. But there's a bunch of CMSs to get that up. You have a blog that you've started to put for content to be able to optimize. You've got an explainer video that we've built for not that much money that gives a quick rundown. That's a very important piece because that's also going to be similar to what you'll have for your elevator pitch when you're actually talking to investors. You've got we sort of wishy-washy on the business plan. Some people will ask to see if you've done it. None of them are going to read it. What they will ask for, that we're going to go through tonight, that they will definitely ask for, is your deck. And I'll talk about what that is and how you actually do it. We've got kind of a full elevator pitch. We've got, everything together. We've got the wireframes. We've got the actual product, click through, what it's going to do, etc. So now, we've located local angels. Remember, VCs won't touch you for a long, long time. So you're going to want angel investors. And there's Gust. There's a bunch of places. If you go online, look up angel investor networks. There's a number of them nationwide, and angel investors will join these networks because they become centralized marketing screening services that basically peruse the deals before they actually set up the time and meeting for the investors to go take a look. So it becomes their own scaled out Shark Tank. And the advantage for the investor is that somebody up front is actually taking a look at these deals to see what's garbage and not, and filtering through some of the details to present a wide range of things, but at least some real opportunities to angel investors. So it saves them a lot of time. Plus, because the meetings usually aren't one-on-one, it might be you presenting to 6 to 35 angel investors. There's less accountability. So if they say no to a deal or if they're not interested, usually there's very little follow-up. They don't really have to, continue with that. They can just go see what appeals to them, and if they like something, move forward. And if they don't, then they don't. Um, so that's the next. You're going to want to go local first because everybody likes to sort of be a part of the local piece. The other thing you're going to want to look to do is look at some accelerators. Accelerators are the same thing; they're angels, but they actually have processes to get you involved and up. They'll work you through the processes. So you don't have to go back to these videos, but they'll actually have their own process to pull everything together to get you in front of investors. And most of them will tell you the odds of you getting money at the end are very, very high, assuming you do everything you're supposed to do in a timely manner. But here's the thing. When you're presenting, okay, so you're going to need your deck. That's an absolute must. Now, what are the elements for a deck? Okay, so a deck is a layout of what your company is. It's almost like a look at it as a very much miniaturized business plan. Page one should be what your company is. Okay, what is it about your company? And it needs to be short, succinct, to the point, so people can follow. And at the bottom of that first page, and you can do it in different ways, say why you're raising money. What are you looking to raise money to build it out, etc. Now, you're not going to want to get into a bunch of features, all right, on here. You're not going to want to get into that. But what you are going to want to do is kind of talk about the problems that are in existence and what you're trying to solve with your product. Page two is what the global market is. What's the opportunity here? And page three, again, what's the problem? And what does your product do to solve those problems? So in my past life, it was texting, and world is moving away from email towards texting. Millennials don't email. A lot of these investors are very interested in getting to the younger people. They know that the older people already have all their options aren't really going to change. But the younger group, the millennials, is a big, big market, and they want to be able to target that. And they know the numbers on it, but you always at this point want to include a lot of statistics on your market, and why your product is going to solve that. Again, next page, what you're going to solve. If you have a patent or if you've applied for a patent, you're going to want to have that in as well. You have your go-to-market approach. Um, the go-to-market, again, with what we're currently doing is white label, but in the past life, it was carrier integrations. We actually never even got there, believe it or not. We got to base customers and stopped. Actually, there were 5 phases of growth, and we actually stopped before we got to the final phase. You're going to want to have a section on our team. Now, you might not have an impressive resume. That's okay. I mean, if you've got an impressive team of people, good for you. In my past life, I had a pretty impressive board of advisors. Everyone from AOL to Home Shopping Network and Accenture and entrepreneurs organizations, national organizations, entrepreneurs. I got to be honest, nobody cared. I thought that was going to be a big, big deal. When you go out and you say, "Hey, I have the former CFO of AOL," I thought that was going to open doors. AOL at one point was the web company, and it really didn't matter at all. Nobody cared. So if you have it, don't feel bad about pushing yourself out there, because again, you're the product. You're the one they're going to be buying from. And then you want to get into the growth, profitability. What are the opportunities, and those types of things. And if you have any revenue, which you wouldn't at this point, some market summary stuff, and then you just want to do a quick summary. It doesn't have to be too big. I mean, under 13 pages is ideal. It just has to have all the information that an investor would want on the problems, the market, the opportunity, how much money you're looking to raise for what percentage of the company, and that will determine your valuation, and then when they can expect to get their money back. Now, when you're doing your valuation, this is not 2015 anymore. This is not 2012 anymore. A standard valuation for a tech company back then would be $2 million for a company that's just starting, just if it's a good product, 1.5 to 2. It's not that way anymore. You'd be lucky to get $1 million valuation right now with the market, the things that are out there. Now, keep in mind, you might have something different. You might have something unique. You might have something that has intellectual property. You might have something that is so sophisticated and advanced, the valuation is higher, or the market is higher. An invention in the medical services, for example. But I'm assuming that you're just a standard entrepreneur building an app, because you're doing this on a low budget, and at this point, you wouldn't even have all the nuances to be able to build an AI product or something for the medical services that would be worth a lot more. So assuming this is a startup, you should realistically stay under 1.5 million for your opening valuation to try to entice somebody in. And as far as how much this is going to cost you, a lot of that depends on how many pages you have. And you should know by now with the wireframes how much content. You should have a pretty good idea. You might even have a company that can give you a fixed price bid with all the requirements that we've laid out. Remember, we had a technical writer lay out all those nerdy requirements. That part's going to be the one you're going to rack your brain over, because once you start developing, you don't want to start adding in new products constantly. You want to make sure all those requirements are in place before development, or your cost is going to go up exponentially. So it's realistic if it's a light app for about 30 grand. If it's a pretty sophisticated app, you could be looking at millions of dollars. But in generally, I would say budget 150 grand to get an MVP out the door. That's about 99 grand a month for an out of country team to spend a year building your product and still have marketing money and some other things to get it out the door. It's still going to be tight. You don't have a huge runway, and you're not going to be able to pay yourself a thing. So don't expect any of that, but at least you'll have a product that you can go out to market with. And that's huge. And again, you've got the website. So while all this is going on, your job is to put out content because content's king for SEO. If you don't want to pay big money for leads, you got to keep content flowing through that blog, through video, through everything else, update content, add new pages to the website, continue to push things out, talk to people on influencers, go on podcasts, create a podcast, whatever it is, to keep that content going and keep it published on your website. With YouTube, it's outstanding to use YouTube to be able to rank into Google, but you're going to want some fresh content for your site as well. It can't all be online for YouTube, or people go to YouTube and never go to your website. So you have to have some stuff there too. So now you're presenting, right? And the key here is to make sure you have an under 5 minute pitch, and you don't want your whole pitch to be going through the product because it's awkward. You'll realize this after you do your first one. If you have to do a click through and command a room at the same time, you're not going to be able to do it. Steve Jobs could do it. He had somebody who was actually click throughing for him. So it made it smooth as silk. If you have somebody who can click through for you, great. Then you can command a room and have somebody else actually man or woman, the projector. But the best way to probably do that is either to set up a, I use Keynote, which will actually allow you to run videos through it. But you might actually have a video demo of the product being clicked through. You're going to want to time it and make sure the timing works for your presentation. And you're going to want to make sure that it's tight because you can't be screwing up in front of you. Only get one shot. The other thing I'll say on the advice side, you're never going to get a deal on your first pitch. It's just not going to happen. So your biggest goal going into a room before you even present is, hey, can I get your email addresses so I can send you updates on where we are in development and keep you up to speed on what we're doing and build a relationship that may or may not turn into something down the road. No pressure, but get those contacts. Get those contacts in. If you do that, this is what's going to separate you, because your presentation, they're going to forget about it. You could do a great presentation, bad presentation. At the end of the day, people will forget about it. When you follow up and you build that relationship with each person that you've presented to over time to update them, hey, we added this feature. Hey, I wanted to get your opinion on this. Hey, this is a quick thing that we're doing. You don't have to give them all the information you're doing, but just, here's a monthly update on where we are, what we're doing. Here's our latest blog, add them on LinkedIn, all that type of stuff. Because people will give money to people that they like, respect, and they see that they're driven and hardworking. There's a trust that comes over time, and you're not going to get it in a 5-minute pitch in front of a room of 30 angel investors. Just not going to happen unless you've got some magical thing out there. So first of all, get in the room, but make sure you're getting that data, because your real job when you go into that room, you want the presentation to be tight. You want to have all your ducks in a row, but your real job is to get that data from those angels and be able to actually keep in touch with them through LinkedIn and other things. Present, hey, go to my LinkedIn, go to my social media, go to my Instagram, and go to and send this email in so that I can send you newsletters and information on what we're doing, because that's what's going to end up raising you money. At some point, if you keep in touch with people and they see that you're serious and you're not some jerk off that's sitting here trying to raise money but not really working, your odds of actually closing on money go way, way up. So assuming that you've now gone through the angels locally, you've gone through the the process of trying to find an accelerator, expand out into your state, into other cities, and then eventually expand out into your region and apply to all those as well. And just keep working. And in the meantime, keep your foot to the pedal on your product. If you can scrape together enough money to get a little bit of technology work done at a time, maybe have somebody do some of the basic Amazon work, set up an Amazon account, get some ideas of what you can do on the DevOps side. And worst case scenario, just go to coding school and start working on it yourself. If you want this bad enough and you believe in your idea, don't let anything stop you, and don't let anybody stop you. Finally, obviously, go to friends and family. If you have a good enough plan, people will want to be involved in it. Don't count on friends and family. They may tell you no. They may actually be the most disappointing of all. But if you do have that good of an idea and somebody's willing to put in, 10, 15 grand, you can get some work done. And the more you get done, the more better the odds you have of being able to go out and have somebody believe in your dream. But really, at the end of the day, it's up to you. If you believe in it, you'll find a way to get it done. And if you find a way to get it done, that's when the fun just gets started, because you're going to have some obstacles along the way. It's a bumpy ride, but it's a beautiful ride. In the meantime, stay blessed, everybody. Stay happy. I hope you enjoyed this series. We'll continue to talk about things like patents next and some other things. But if you need any help, if you need an example of a deck, anything along those lines, just reach out. Happy to help. Hope everyone has a great evening, and thanks again.